Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we're talking to Black Note Graffiti. Check it out. There we go. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I'm talking to Ricardo, Chris, and Gabrielle from Black Note Graffiti. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, loving life.
That's fantastic.
I'm not too happy about it. Love life.
Yeah, we're great.
It's awesome.
So I think, well, actually, I know it was about, I'd say 6 years ago, because I was putting together a this art exhibit for poster art at the Ann Arbor Art Center, and I remember seeing these flyers for a band called Black Note Graffiti, and I thought, wow, that's a really cool name for a band. And you know, I kept seeing those, but then I was like, you know, I need to check out that band. And it took forever, obviously, like 6 years. But last year, I checked you guys out at Burn Fest, which was a super cool festival because it had just like a great mix of all these different genres of music, which I thought was fantastic. But anyway, finally got to see you guys, and I was like, holy shit, you guys are awesome. And I need to get you on the show. And so that's finally happened. So I feel super pumped that you guys are here. So thanks again.
Yeah, super pumped to be here.
Awesome. So let's kind of roll back into like, how did Black Note Graffiti come to be?
That's a Chris question, right?
Definitely. The ringleader.
Yeah, I guess I started. Well, me and my brother Kurt started when we were very young, and he's the drummer. I play it. So. And,
on one side, you have.
And
that wasn't part of the original story.
Yeah.
And the bass player Adam, we grew up together, actually playing in Bliss.
Oh, cool.
And so we played the Toledo scene when we were teenagers. And then we ended up going to school in up in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. And then later on we met Ricardo through a friend of a friend, and we did a couple of records, and then we met Gabby and did a record. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Nice.
Make it sound so glorious.
I know. It's like
There's a lot.
Ricardo and Gabby.
No, it was all yeah, because basically we have this great rhythm section, because one time we were playing the show and they're like, I think it was like a contest or something, and we're like, yeah, me and the drummer are brothers, and they're like, hey, you guys are cheating since you're brothers. Never thought of that, but it is kind of cheating. So so we're kind of the rhythm section, me and Kurt and Adam, the bass player. And then these guys came in, Rick came in, and the Gabby came in and kind of put this whole nother aspect on the whole thing. So we got like this tight rock rhythm section, and then bringing in keys and harmony vocals and another guitar player with totally different melodies with guitar. It just took it to another level.
Nice.
Pretty
and
cool.
So the how many albums do you guys have? I thought I saw the volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and are those all with Gabby or no?
No, just the last one.
Just 3. Okay.
We're working on the next one right now.
Excellent. That was gonna be a question. So Chris, hold on to that thought. So once you arrived at the current aspect of Black Note Graffiti, what was those first practices like? And I'm kind of thinking of Gabby and Ricardo. What was it like for you guys to jump into this band? It had been established, and you're adding your elements to it.
Yeah, if I could start here. So yeah, when I first joined Black Note, they're real blues rocky, and I'm like coming from like kind of a punk scene, kind of like instrumental scene, and so I brought in, and it changed the dynamics definitely, as it naturally does. And so yeah, we recorded those first two albums, but like throughout the whole time, I was doing my own background vocals, and I'm more of a screamer than a singer. I can admit that about myself. I know this, and so like I knew I'd get pretty good, but like there was something missing, and so luckily when Chris brought in Gabby the first practice, I remember being like, okay, what's this about? What's this about? And then she had been listening to a record and just like studied it and added her own vocal lines to it, and it just like completely changed the sound, and it was just like more realized version of what I had in my head, but being able to be produced. And so Gabby really raised the bar once again, and I'm like immediately like, well, I'm gonna be replaced, I'm not long. But luckily they kept me around, but because yeah, but for the most part, like I felt like we were just keep adding to the puzzle, adding to the stew, and Gabby was finally that last ingredient, I think, that just really pushed us into that next echelon of like what we could be as a band.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gabby, what was it like for you to I guess how did you come into the band? It sounds like Chris pulled you in, but how did that happen?
So I was like, I think I was in one band before Black Note. It was just my first band ever, and I had like this band mix account. I don't know if you ever heard of band mix, but it's like you're a musician, you have a little profile, you put like, oh, I'm interested in this genre, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. So Chris was on band mix and he found me on there, and I like get this message from Chris like saying like, hey, like I got this band, blah, 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 here's our stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so basically joining this band was pretty much hitting the ground running, because what was it, like the next week or two, we went to Canada and did a photo shoot like immediately. And it's so funny because my parents, because I was, I don't know, like 19 or 18. So I was like, hey, mom, I'm going to Canada and doing a photo shoot in Ohio with like these guys that I just met online. Mom was like, absolutely not. Like that's crazy. My dad was like, oh, okay. Look up and stuff. Oh, this sounds great. Yeah, have fun. And I'm like, wow. So it was like a lot all at once, but it was so cool. And I remember like the first rehearsals, you guys had print out the lyrics for me, and I was just like reading them and stuff, like trying to figure out harmonies, and yeah, it's just really cool. Like it happened so fast, but it felt so right. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Very
really
cool. So if someone came up, and didn't know anything about you, just heard your name, saw the name or whatever, and was like, tell me about Black Note Graffiti, how would you describe your music to them?
Ricardo.
But
you don't have the best explanation of our music, so please. Every time it's something awesome.
I'm the improver of the group.
Yes.
So. No, I think we have like melodic vocals smashed together with incendiary guitars, and just trying to, while all that is going on, just trying to keep a danceable beat. So we keep you intrigued both, during the song and maybe afterwards if you start to meditate on the lyrics a little bit.
Very cool. Very cool.
The cool thing about our band is like Ricardo does the majority of like the writing when it comes to like, well, a lot of the music, but also like majority of the lyrics. And like Ricardo's just like a great lyricist. So with this band, it's not about, oh, it just sounds cool. Like the meanings of the songs are like so deep. That's what pulls me in, because as a singer, it's like you gotta feel it.
Yeah.
So that's like my favorite part, obviously. Kind of biased, but yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good lead in to my next question, and it was about the songwriting, because I think when you were describing the music, there's a metal element that I want to say, but there's also like lots of nuanced melodies and layering of harmony in all the songs. Like you were saying, Ricardo, extremely listenable, but not not for anybody that, if you love pop stuff, then that's great. But but it's not pop. It's still got like what I like in music, was there's a little bit of an edge and that kind of drive. And so I'm curious, like, what is the songwriting process like? So it sounds like, Ricardo, you may be a one of the primary drivers, but is it a band consensus, or is it more somebody comes up with an idea, maybe a fully fledged song, runs with it? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it's really evolved over the years. At first, it used to be me, at home, like fleshing out the parts and then like having an idea to try and share with everybody to give them an idea of what I had. But Chris also is an accomplished songwriter, so he comes in with his ideas. And then Gabby was in choosing her, also an accomplished songwriter. So the way that we've approached it recently, especially with this upcoming album, is that we'll all have an idea, like a germ of the idea, and bring it, and then we all just kind of flesh it out as a band. And so, for the most part, obviously we want to have a complete song so that we're not fleshing out each part, just because that can, too many cooks can really overcook the steak. And so for us, it was about finding that balance of like, okay, this is most of a song that I have, like, and it's hard when you have, when you're growing up like as the primary songwriter to like let go of that baby to the world, and especially to you and your bandmates who you trust,
Right.
because then it changes completely. But we have enough trust in each other to just come with these ideas now. And I think it's like, especially in this new album, we're all like contributing, and it feels really great that this is more of a collaboration, I think, than any of our other albums. In that, Gabby will come with a part on the keys, and then we'll figure it out on the guitars, and then maybe I'll figure out a certain part and then just kind of fuck with that a little bit, and just make it, like you said, we want that groove that is in heavy music, especially metal and things like that, where it's groovy but it's not necessarily poppy, where you could just like tap along or sing along with it, but also create that more complex element of like, yeah, you can hear the chugga chugga right up front, but maybe you don't hear the 3-part harmony going on in the background, or some allusion to some literary reference in the lyrics.
Right. Very cool. So speaking of the new album, what's the time frame? Where are you guys at with that? And so 2-part question: where are you at with it? And then stylistically, do you feel like where is it diverting from the last release, the Volume 3? Who wants to take that one?
For real?
Say
something.
Well, we're writing a full length record.
Awesome.
We do prefer to do full lengths, and we're actually working on releasing a live record before that, though.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So, yeah, Gabby's actually working on the video for that now, for one of the songs, and we recorded that at Mile of Music in Appleton, Wisconsin last year, but that's another story. To answer your question, yeah, we're doing a full length and we're writing it right now. So we took kind of the first quarter of this year kind of off to make sure that we had enough material, and because it's hard to play live and write because you're on the road, then you're setting back up, trying to write, tear back down on the road, Chuck, hard to do both. So we kind of made the decision we're going to take a break and just concentrate on writing. And so I think we've got like 5 or 6 tracks, and I think we want to get to at least 10 or 11. And and then we're going to try to record those. The schedule is in September, October.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry, this is off topic, but what is this E in this meme at the bottom? Is this only on my screen? Like, am I?
No, it's an everybody. I was going to ask E, can you hear us? Hello, E.
Oh, there's someone there. Okay.
Yeah, that's another person.
Yeah.
Hello,
hello, E. Yeah. The meme that you can't see says, "You still out? You still going out tonight?" Me, and then it's a little person wrapped up in a bundle.
Okay, yeah.
Clearly, they're not going out tonight.
Yeah.
So, E, speaking of E, are you there? And do you have any questions?
Mr. E.
Yeah.
Mr. E.
Oh, didn't realize the meme. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like kind of creepy when I saw it pop up.
Yeah, I know.
This chat just changed.
I know. Yeah. I was like,
Well, so funny story. I was talking to, oh man, I'm blanking out now again on Fernando. He's a singer-songwriter, I think in Ipsy, actually.
Nice.
And I was talking with him, and this guy got on, and he had didn't have his face, but had a a picture of like wrestling, and then we're talking, and all of a sudden he goes, "This is Big Jim's, something like Big Jim something or other in so and so Alabama. Come to see this wrestling." And we're like, "What in the hell?" And so we just kept going. Every once in a while, he would interject this, because honestly, if you have the Zoom link, anybody can get on there. So you never really know. And so we ended up. It was really funny because it turned out it really is this like local wrestling thing, and he was like kind of promoting his wrestling thing, and he was he even chipped in on some questions. He's like, "I'm not listening to that," because sometimes I would ask like, "What was your first album?" "My first album," he would do that voice. It was awesome. So just so you know, you feel free to chip in and at any time. Oh, he's friends with Chris, and I'm clearly not going out, so there you go.
Perfect.
Miss.
So, kind of going back to your origin stories, what was it that it influenced each of you to want to become musicians and play music? And let's start with Gabby.
Well, I mean, I first started singing when I was in church as a kid, and my mom, she sings, so I just kind of got influenced by her to just be into music.
Mm-hmm.
My dad also plays the piano, so both my parents are musical, so that they kind of like influenced me in that way. So I was singing in church, and then I always would watch like shows that like had like a musical element. Like there used to be this movie called Camp Rock when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I thought that was so cool. Looking back on now, it's very cringy. It's really weird. But I was like, "Oh, that's so cool, Camp Rock! Like they're out there like doing air guitar stuff. Wow, that's so cool." So cringy, but I thought it was cool. I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. I'm gonna be in a rock band. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got my first car, I was like, cool. Now I gotta get online so I can find some members to be in a band because I can drive now, go where I want. That's kind of how that started.
Awesome. Chris, how about you?
I guess I've got a couple answers for that. I guess when I was really young, just seeing other older kids in bands, I'm like, man, that's cool. But there was a show that I saw it was then called the State Theater. I saw Urge Overkill, and I saw this band, Overwhelming Color Fast, open up for them, which is a blast from the past. But I was like, that's what I want to do.
Awesome.
It's just awesome. It's like a free spirit. You just get up and play music and do your thing, and especially writing music and being able to play it, and no expectations, and it's a magical thing to me now. And so keep doing it. It makes me happy, and to do it with these guys and this band, it's been amazing.
Awesome. Ricardo, how about you?
Yeah, so like I've always been a ham growing up, so like center of attention's always been fun, is where the limelight I was. But no, I've also been a writer growing up, and so music was a natural sort of progression to like express myself. But specifically, there was one instance that really solidified it, which was seeing At the Drive-In play on The Late Show with Conan O'Brien, and they just came out there and just destroyed it, and just was like full on energy, and it felt like a live show like through my TV, which just totally blew my mind. And just seeing like just the unhingedness of it all, and just like after they just left the stage just like in ruins, and just like even the Conan didn't know whose handshake, whose hand to shake, and looked lost. And it was just like they totally just like went out there, did their thing, left their impression, and just left. And I was just like, yeah, that's what I would like, one of those, please.
Awesome. Yeah. I love At the Drive-Ins. The very first time I ever heard their music, I was like, man, this is something else, right? It was yeah. And I finally got to see them. I think it was right. It was before the pandemic, maybe 2019.
Okay.
I think they played. What the hell was that? I think it was at the Fillmore, which used to be the State Theater.
Mm,
Yeah, but it was awesome. It was fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, kind of along those lines, like, what was the first album you ever got? And we'll start with you, Ricardo, or CD, or
I'm
download,
going
or
to cheat
whatever.
this question because in growing up in my day, there was this little thing called, and this is dating me, called BMG, or Sony Music House, in which you get 10 CDs for
Oh
a
yeah.
penny. But then they rope you and you end up buying $100 CD after that. So yeah, it was a bunch of those. But the first one that it was actually not a tape. It was a tape. It was a single that was really formative. It had November Rain on one side and Sweet Child of Mine on the other side. And I
Nice.
remember just listening to that over and over until you had to pull it out and get the pencil out and wind up the tape back up again. And so yeah, that was definitely one of the most formative singles I ever heard.
Awesome. Chris, how about you?
The first album I can remember buying, I had sets too, but I remember growing up with me and Kurt shared a room and shared a bedroom when we were little kids, and we got a CD player. It's like the coolest thing ever, right? So now we got to go buy a CD. And the first CD we bought together, which then was a lot of money, it was probably $10,
Yeah.
was Vulgar Display of Power.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And I just remember our mom probably is just cringing in the kitchen, and we just got this, metal just totally cranked up on this new CD player that we're just like so happy.
Oh, awesome.
Playing again. But that was like the first like metal CD that we bought. So, oh my God. Still.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that album still is awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking Hostile.
Totally.
I love that. Gabby, how about you?
So I mean, growing up, I didn't buy records or albums because, well, when I started listening to music on my own, that's when streaming kind of
Yep.
became popular. So I didn't really buy any records or albums, but I remember when I was a kid, my dad on his way to his baseball games, he would have all these like CDs in his back seat. So I would like listen to them in the back seat with my headphones on. And one I remember the most was Queen, the game, that album. I remember really liking Queen a lot, and I will always just be in the backseat like, play the game, play the game. It's so good, like all these harmonies, all these
Oh, yeah.
this is crazy, this is so much, and I was like, man, this is cool. Really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I was a late bloomer to Queen, and I think it was just out of abstinence because my sister liked Queen, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm not gonna like the same music my sister likes. So, but then later on, I got into it, and I was like, oh man, I've been missing out for so long. I still love Queen, still love listener stuff. E, how about you? You can either speak. What was your first album? E. Oh,
Typing.
we're gonna jump. Terrible.
Terrible.
I don't.
Terrible Lie
Oh,
by Nine Inch Nails.
oh,
Yeah, great song.
Tiffany, excellent,
Tiffany.
fantastic, nice, Tiffany.
That-
She was like one of the very early,
Or am I crazy?
what the hell was I can't remember like mall, wasn't it? Like I always
Mall
associate with the mall. Yeah, mall pop.
Yep.
Oh man, awesome. So if you guys could have a beverage of your choice with somebody, either alive or dead, who would that be? And what would you like to talk to them about? And I'll start with Ricardo.
I'd like to probably do shots with Dave Grohl. He seems like a really cool dude, and I just like he's played in so many bands and is such a prolific, songwriter. Just like, yeah, I would also hope that leads to a jam session, but that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
But yeah, probably doing whiskey shots with Dave Grohl.
Awesome. Have you seen the movie that he did, that Sound City documentary?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm kind of with you. I would love to. I would hope that he would, offer us have you come over to the studio and jam. That would be cool. Chris, how about you?
Oh, man. Um, Off the cuff, I'll say Bowie. David Bowie would be.
Excellent.
He did music for so long, for so many years. It would be cool just to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. What's your just out of curiosity? What's your favorite Bowie album? I know it's a tough one.
What's the album that has it's like the Trent Reznor influenced album?
Oh yeah, I can't think of that one.
I Want to Be an American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of Americans.
Afraid of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. I can't think of it right now, but that's probably my favorite album.
Yeah. That's awesome.
By like it's Bowie Gone Industrial. It had that hit, but it's a really cool record.
Yeah. I think that was probably it was either before or after because remember he did that band Tin Machine. I don't know if you
Yeah.
listened to that. That stuff was really cool with Reeves Gabriel, I think, who did some other stuff with him, played live with them. Awesome guitar player.
Probably the same era.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. And Gabby,
Our friend's band Lung does
go
a really good copy of that, or cover of I'm Afraid of Americans.
Really?
Yeah, they're great.
Oh, that would be cool because I don't think I've seen any band do a good, even try to do like older Bowie, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's on cello, so it adds a different. It's like electrified cello through distortion and stuff, and yeah, check it out.
Lung. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Gabby, how about you?
Probably Chino from Deftones because I don't know, he's just so cool. Like just like not only his stage performance, just how much swag this man has, but also like his writing of his melodies is like my favorite. He's my favorite vocalist of all time, in my opinion. Because it's just the way he writes his melodies is just so complex, and it just a lot of it goes over people's heads of just like what he's actually doing. So it's just to pick his brain about like, is this like a thought out process, or do you just go by what you hear? Like just to know like those types of questions would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of a related question: what tune do you are you most inspired by from the Deftones?
My favorite album, it's hard to pick one, but my favorite album definitely either be Around the Fur or Diamond Eyes or Saturday Night Wrist. Those three are like at my top.
Nice.
I think that Diamond Eyes is more newer, came in like late 2010s.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was that? Was it White Pony?
Yeah, that one was good too. I think the first song from them I heard was from White Pony. It was did the Digital Bath, and I was like, man, he's up on this mic, like, and it's so compressed, like he's breathing in my ears. This is cool.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's dying. Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, and so E said martinis with Dorothy Parker or anything with Miles Davis and John Coltrane. Nice.
Oh, yes.
Ideally not with drugs. Yeah, good idea. Also Bowie and my bestie Elvis. Very nice. And then anything with Beethoven while he could still hear. And then I'm going to butcher that. Prokofiev. So I butchered that. It's Proko. Close enough. And Paganini, who's a big influence on the ultimate guitar wanker, Yngwie Malmsteen, and then fantastic disruptive composers. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Do you guys remember the very first gig you played? Like, what were your memories of that first gig, and what did you take away from that after that gig? And this was with your band, Black Note Graffiti. Maybe start with Gabby.
My first gig with Black Note Graffiti was not in this country. It was I can't remember. Was it Bovine?
It was Bovine.
Yeah, yeah, that
Bovine
was
Sex Club.
yeah. That was my first gig with Black Note, and I was crazy nervous because I'm like, I'm not in this country with these men I just met 2 weeks ago. Hope this goes fine. I hope I do well. I remember thinking all of those things.
Well, the name of the club is Bovine Sex Club, and
Yeah.
you tell parents when
Yeah, I told my parents, yeah, our first gig's at the sex club.
we're playing the sex. No, you're not. No, you're,
I remember yeah,
Oh, your parents.
sex
They
club.
they need a award. They
the
need
irony
an award.
is we're going back there next month.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Where
North by Northeast.
Mhm.
so where is that again? Where in Canada?
It's
Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto. Toronto's a cool town though.
Yeah,
So,
it's really
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
my dad was all for it. My mom was.
So what did you take away from that gig after after it was all said and done?
I guess that was probably at least because we did like a few shows there. Like what was it for Indie Week? So we did like a bunch of shows in like a succession or whatever. And my
Uh-huh.
biggest takeaway from just like that little show and that like period was like, don't overthink what you're doing because like you're actually doing perfectly fine. Like don't be nervous because if you're nervous, you're gonna mess up, and if you mess up, you'll be pissed. So don't be nervous.
Very good. Awesome. Ricardo.
It's also worth noting, just during that block of shows, that the power went out during one of our shows. Um, and Gabby and I kept singing, until the power kept going on. But it actually changed a song that we did live because of that,
Oh,
of that little, interruption within the show. So I always thought that was kind of noteworthy.
yeah.
For me, it was the Tigers opening day, and we were bookending kind of the show where we started, and then those two bands, and then the same two bands going in reverse order, and then us. And I learned that day not to drink too much too early on. It was really not a great showing for the first show for me personally. The first show went great. The last show, however, I was just a little too sauced to really make it work. And so, yeah, that was definitely a learning lesson. But it was definitely a memorable time, regardless, because we got free drinks, and if anyone's been downtown Detroit during Tigers opening day, it's just like this whole
Yeah.
thing, and so just to be in that. And on top of that, this was when they were filming the Transformers movie downtown in Detroit. So it was just like a perfect, mixture of all these cacophony of things coming together into that first show.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, how about you?
Well, it's kind of a double question because there's been changes in the band. So the first show that I remember doing without Gabby with Rick was in Ypsilanti at the time it was called Woodruff's.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yep, that's a great place.
And really cool venue. Now it's a restaurant, but we actually played with Blue Snaggletooth.
Nice.
And it was a great show. It was awesome. So that was kind of the first like Black Note show without Gabby, and then like Gabby said, the next show with the current lineup, it was in Toronto, which was also amazing.
Nice.
I mean, to play in Toronto in a dive bar, and it was like, and they have bands on until like 3 or 4 in the morning there.
Holy
and
shit.
they're like, at times that like you go on at like 1:15 and you play till or something. We're like, holy shit. Awesome. Because everyone is half drunk.
That's right.
Like, yeah. So it was it was amazing. So I kind of got a double show on that, which was
awesome. So what's been the most memorable event for you guys as a band so far? Like a gig, or could be, I don't know, being on Fans with Bands. I'm not sure.
I have one.
Oh, okay, go for it.
I remember when we were playing South by Southwest, and this is where the moment I realized, man, we really are a team. I ripped my pants, and they all sewed up my pants. They passed it around like in the van. Was it Chris? I think everyone had like had something to do with my pants, and they just like, I was like, wow, this is great teamwork.
Awesome. That's awesome. Fantastic. Ricardo, how about you?
Also was North by Northwest, but it was so we played this show at the Dizzy Rooster, and it was just like running behind, and at one point when we go on in the middle of our set, they turn off all the mics, but they left on all the instruments. And so, this is like nearing the end of our set actually. And so we keep playing and trying to, stay professional. But the stage manager just kind of was just taking it into his own hands. And then, we kind of may have gotten into it, and maybe some of the members may have gone over there. But then immediately after that, we had another gig right across the street. And when you're playing South by, it's just like, you're either walking to a show or you're moving equipment through a crowd of people. And so we were in the latter of the categories, moving into this place called Touche, which is where we did some fire shots earlier in the night. And completely different energy. Just everybody was into it. And it was just like we were all crammed into this like 10-foot square stage. And it was definitely our best show that night. But it was also just like, people were just like all just into it, and people were waiting outside to get in. And it was just like, that's why you become a musician, is for like moments like that where it just, you feel so alive in the moment and you just feel a part of something bigger.
Awesome. Chris, how about you?
That's a good question. Can you repeat it again?
Sure. It's like, yeah, what was your most memorable Black Note Graffiti moment? And that could be, a show, something that happened at a practice, sewing Gabby's pants.
Yeah, stitching my britches, what you said when that was.
Fan.
Yeah.
Probably, I guess that one of the coolest times was when the first time Gabby sang with us. I talked to her like just a few days before we were going to have a rehearsal, and I told the other band members that Gabby was going to be at the rehearsal. Well, I don't think they actually like believed it or knew it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so we all show up, and I'm like, yeah, she's going to be here in a few minutes. They're like, yeah, whatever. And so she shows up, and she had like most of the songs memorized pretty well. And we like do the set, and she sings the set and the harmonies through the entire set. And we were just like, whoa. And it was pretty amazing. It was cool because it kind of like opened up the music. It opened up because we're playing like this hard rock, testosterone driven, kind of thing. And then to have a female come in and do harmonies and add that other element, it like put this like aura on top of everything. And it changed the whole, I think it changed the whole thing. And I think that, I think all of us kind of realized that, and it made it better. It made it different. And I think that was a pretty cool moment, where it was like, wow, this is pretty special. So, because we had a great band, but then we had a better band.
Yeah.
And, we got Ricardo, it's a great songwriter, great singer, killer guitar player. Kurt, amazing drummer. Adam, great bass player. I'm playing guitar, and then Gabby comes in.
Great guitar player. Great
guitar player.
Okay.
Great songwriter.
So
kind of slide over it.
It was cool. It was really a cool moment where it was like, okay, this is now we've got something that is special. And then I knew, I was like, okay, I believe in it, and other people will believe in it. And that was pretty amazing.
Awesome. So what's the most let's see what's the right word, challenging aspect of being in a band, not just this band, but or it could be a challenging element of being in this band. But what is that for each of you? Because I know that it can be hard when you're, because I did it years and years ago, but I remember it still. And there was great things like you were talking about, Chris, where you either have an epiphany about your band and or you have a great show or whatever. Certain elements are super cool, and then other things are like, oh man, this is super hard. So what have been some of the challenges for each of you? Maybe we'll start with Ricardo.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is like deciding what's right for the music overall.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it's never easy to go from like the lead singer to the not lead singer. But, the first time I heard Gabby sing, there was one song in particular that when I heard it, it was just like so much better than I could ever do. And it was so humbling of being like, this is the right choice, for the, and it, now I'm adjusting how I write songs because now I no longer want to hear it in my voice. I want to hear it in Gabby's voice,
Yeah.
Because that really pushes me as a songwriter to reach that level of artistry that Gabby brings to the table. And so, yeah, that transition was hard, but it was like necessary to grow as a musician, but also to grow the band as well.
Cool. Gabby, how about you?
Man. That's hard. I mean, yeah, that's a hard question because I mean, obviously, like when you're in a band, like our band is 5 people, so taking 5 brains and like doing this is
Yeah.
it's challenging, but it's so cool when it actually happens and we come together. So, I think like just taking 5 people and just kind of like all agreeing on something or all like being satisfied with something. It's just like, okay, then we're this and then that. And it's like, okay, so like making sure everyone's good and like we're all on the same page is probably pretty challenging. That and also heavy equipment.
Yeah, heavy equipment with
Yeah.
vertical stairs. That's always fun too.
Awesome. Yeah.
They're always
Yeah. Also, I'm a more morning person, so when we play late shows, that's pretty hard for me. Like I have to take a lot of energy drinks when we play past 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I'm with you. Chris, how about you?
I guess the most challenging thing I think is, being, kind of looking from the outside and being kind of a medium, smaller band. I mean, really. I mean, we're like, we're playing clubs and stuff in Michigan, and we've got some great festivals coming up, which we've worked our ass off for. So I'm really happy and proud of the band for getting there and being able to do these things. But just being able to get everybody in the same room at the same time. Abby said 5 people with Kurt and Adam have small children, and we're all working full-time jobs, and being able to get together and then, which is a great thing. I mean, at least for me, it's like a total stress reliever. Like it's like going to the psychiatrist for me. I mean, but I guess that's a real challenge,
Yeah. Yeah.
More, but we're not at that level yet, so
Right.
maybe someday we will, who knows, but I'd say that's a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
For
know?
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Chris, you mentioned upcoming shows, and that's a good segue because I was wondering like what's next. I know you guys got some cool stuff coming up in June. So who wants to do the broadcasting as far as what's besides working on the new music, but what's going on with Black Note Graffiti going forward this summer?
Well, we've got our next show. I think it's Burnfest, right?
I think so. June 10th.
Yeah, June 10th coming up in Ann Arbor, Blind Pig.
Yes.
Yeah. Burnfest was great bands. We got Lucid Furs, which
Oh yeah.
Chuck and Four Horses, very well.
Oh yeah.
And then another band we played with about a year ago, Odd City. And I just got a bunch of flyers printed out for all the bands.
Awesome.
So you're
Nice. That'll be cool.
mail them off. But anyway, and we got a great sponsor, Third Eye Muse. It's he's out of Lansing, and he does medibles, and so you can check him out. And so that was a big help too.
Cool.
Shout out to him. Shout out to them, Third Eyed Muse. And so yeah, Burn Fest, and then we do Sounds and Sights in Chelsea.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, kind of crazy. But they're doing like rock and metal this year.
I know.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
I really love that venue, Rumpus Room.
Yeah.
And playing right in front of there. The guy that owns it, super cool. They got the pizza place and all that stuff. I don't know if you've been there, Chuck.
Oh yeah. I
So-
actually gave them, so they hit me up because I'm on the Chelsea. We're members of the Chelsea Area Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome.
And so I know the president because he used to play in a band actually called Risky Brenda. So he hits me up all the time, like, Chuck, what's music? And so he told me, so I knew this was going to happen. I hoped you guys would be on there, but I said, he goes, what are some heavy bands? And so I gave him a list. He's got like, I don't know, maybe like 4 of the ones I put in there. So I was,
Nice.
I was stoked about that.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I was, yeah. And the Rumpus Room is awesome. And that stage is going to be cool. So.
Yeah, that's a great venue. But yeah, we're playing outside the June 13th. Is it or July 13th?
Yep.
Yeah.
July. Yep.
And then July 14th is Upheaval.
Yeah, Upheaval. That was
Yeah.
the one that was like, wow, this is awesome for you guys, you know?
But then I missed there's a train going by here. But I missed North by Northeast, which is June 16th.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
In Toronto. So we're really looking forward to rocking out Queen Street.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. That sounds cool, man. That sounds awesome. Yeah, so I'm stoked I marked my calendar. I've got I should be there 10th, and I'll for sure be there at Sounds and Sights. So that'll be great.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being on Fans with Bands. I just have one last question, and that is pineapple or no pineapple on pizza? Gabby.
So let's talk about this. So I used to be fully against it. I thought it should be a literal hate crime if you put fruit on pizza, but tomato, technically,
Yeah.
So then I thought about it, I was like, dang, pineapple. Let's try it. It was good, actually. So
All right.
I'm one of those people.
Ricardo.
One of us. Yeah, so yeah, I am specifically with bacon. I'm not a huge ham dude, but pineapple bacon.
I just said you were a ham.
Bacon's a different cut of ham. You ham? So yeah, pineapple bacon.
Awesome.
Chris, the outlier.
I'm just gonna plead the fifth on this one.
Oh,
No.
come on. Come
No.
on.
Okay,
We don't have any rights here.
all right, I'm not gonna order it, but I'm not gonna look down on you if you do.
Just because you said that, I feel like you would look down on us because we do. It's fine.
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
This is gonna be strong.
I'll
Gonna
eat
come
it.
down to this.
I'll eat it. I will. But it is a little bit strange.
Go eat it with a little tear coming down.
Die inside with every bite.
Oh, and E mentioned that pizza, very smoky bacon or sausage only. That's it. So sounds like no pizza or no pineapple for E. And Chris, I'm with you. Actually, I won't judge anyone for their pineapple or non-pineapple choice, but I will not order pineapple because I think it, like Gabby, how you were originally, I think it should just be left on its own. The fruit over
Come to
here.
the dark side. It's not that bad. I thought I used to be the same way.
I feel like I do need to like broaden my horizons and try it. So maybe the next time I get pizza, I'll try it. So
you've never tried it?
no, because
Oh, just take a little pineapple off the top and eat it, and then you'll slowly, it'll be great.
Pineapple, I'm like, man, I like pineapple, but I'm just thinking it can't be with anything else. It'd just be enjoyed by itself. But I could have been missing something all these years.
It's true. Reach out to us. You know where you reach us once you have
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Awesome. Well,
You
guys,
haven't tried, and you ask that question.
well, guys, thanks again for being on Fans with Bands. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I want to say something real quick.
Sure.
You covered the Burn Fest last year,
Yeah.
and did a story, and you were at the show and did a bunch of photos, and I just want to thank you. And the story that you did and the photos that you did were awesome.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was really cool. The way that you laid it out, really professional. You covered all the acts, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, man. It's my pleasure. It's actually it's a lot of fun, because get to meet people like you guys, and then I'm always blown away then when people say like, oh, I can't find any music, or there's no good music out there, and I'm like, Jesus, just go to a show and you're gonna find something,
Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you got to opening my eyes to pineapple. You got to open your eyes to different music too, right?
That's the segue right there. That's beautiful.
Just a little nibble off the top, and then the whole slice.
Oh,
That's right.
funny.
That's right. Awesome. All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, bye, Chuck. Thanks.
All right.
See you, Chuck.
See
Thanks
ya.
for having us.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Many thanks to Chris, Gabby, Ricardo, and E for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. Black Note Graffiti are an amazing progressive rock band, and it was a blast to get to talk with them. I loved hearing how the band has evolved over time, and especially loved hearing their stories of how they got together and their experiences the first time they played a gig. Be sure to check out Black Note Graffiti live this summer starting on June 10th at the Blind Pig, at North by Northeast in Toronto on June 16th, Chelsea Sounds and Sights on July 13th, and Upheaval Festival in Grand Rapids on July 14th. See the show notes for all the details and links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.